So it's after 9 p.m. If you hear any music, that's the Hard Rock Cafe off to my left, to the east. The thought occurred to me as I'm looking out here, and given that we're 158 years after the event, and the Ford's Theater has gone through a lot, but ultimately it's been repurposed back into its, not, I wouldn't say original form, because originally it was a Baptist church, but it's back as a theater. There are a few plays a year that are held here. It's obviously a mecca for Lincoln. It pays homage to not just what happened this night, but what he meant as a leader, as a president, as a person. But also, like, when you take a look at this, when you look at this big tower, I don't think this tower, I'm trying to think when I was last here in 2008 with my dad and my wife. I know there was some display with the books. I'm not sure if it was as tall as it currently is. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you can see that's a few stories tall. And it's pretty cool. You take an elevator once you exit the Petersen House, and they have displays on each level of Lincoln presidency and the Civil War times. But when you look at this whole scene, this enormous picture of Lincoln, and if you can see, well, you really can't see here, but what's really cool about that building is that there's a multi-story tower of it's billed to be every single book written about Lincoln. I'm not sure if that's possible or how often it's updated, but it proves the point that there have just been thousands of books written on Lincoln. And this is my point overall, is that even in the 12 days that Booth was on the run between the assassination and when he was killed, even that short period of time, he wrote in his calendar book. It's really not a diary, as some people say, and there's a reason why I highlight that point in the book. But even in that brief period of time between the assassination and Booth's death, he was lamenting the response. He somehow thought that he would be seen as a hero. And what's kind of odd to me about that is that from the Confederacy standpoint, from a pro-Southern standpoint, sure, yeah, there will be a number of people within the Confederacy and in the South in general that feel vindictive about the war, the way it ended for them, and the enmity they felt towards President Lincoln. So there would be an element that would be happy at the assassination, but it's just kind of odd that Booth thought the entire country would somehow see him as a hero. Obviously it was a divided country, but there's a lot of people in the North, in the Union. But he lamented in his calendar book about how he was seen, how he was vilified. But that was even within a few days after the assassination. But my point is here we are in 2023, and you look at how big the Lincoln legend has grown. And in that regard, Booth would truly feel like he has failed.